1998 from the commission, no, I'm sorry, from us to the commission, was a recap of a meeting you had with their staff. And you recapped that meeting very well. And it says at the bottom, as I mentioned at the commission hearing, the LCP review is a three-phase program. One was a preparation of the State 1 corridor study. It was completed and accepted by the board in '94. Now that's been a while ago, but at least that part at that point in time was completed. Part 2, excuse me, was the population development growth. So that data has been completed and accumulated. It's there. And part 3, you actually asked them to provide input as to what they would like to see. Did they ever respond?
Not to my knowledge, other than to point us in the direction of a grant program that was in place at the time.
So, a 1998 letter to them, 10 years later, they still haven't responded, so they're right on course. My concern here is that for the last 10 years, the Coastal Commission has not allowed anything to happen on this coast of Mendocino County. And the best case scenario will be another 10 years for a cumulative total of 20 years that private landowners in the county of Mendocino in the coastal zone are tied and can't do a thing because the Coastal Commission staff has determined they don't want to see it done. Now, at some point in time, two things have to happen. Our state legislators, this goes back to Supervisor Wattenberger's comment, need to step up and provide legislation that puts the same timelines that we have to live under, they have to live under. And if an application goes into them and they fail to act on it, then it deems approved. Something has to change. This control that they have, their hands around our necks, and they're not even accountable to the people of this county, has got to end. The second thing that can happen is this board can sue them for regulatory taking, because in my view, holding somebody's projects up for a 20-year period or more is a taking. And at least let the courts let them decide. Something's got to change. We can't continue to let the staff of the Coastal Commission control this county. We are the elected people. We're accountable to the people here. Now, for those who don't want to see anything happen, they're probably tickled pink. And there's, as we all know, there's some of those people in this county that would love to see nothing happen. But that's not reality. And if you're a landowner or a business owner trying to do something in this county, trying to make a living or build a home on property that you bought and paid for and paying taxes on, and this one commission in the state of California is holding you back from doing that, it's wrong. I'm sorry for the passion on this thing, but I'm fed up with processes that we go through, landowners go through, our planning commissions approve them, we approve them, and then some folks that, again, are not accountable to anybody here because they want to say no, they say no. And it's got to end. And our state legislators need to stand up and take responsibility and get something through. And if we need to, I'm fully supportive of filing a lawsuit to get something moving. Thank you.
Supervisor Colfax.
Mr. Hall, you said that the authority at one point was divided between the Coastal Commission and then the county stepped in and said to take over.
Right, for the original, right, for the existing plan that we have.
Original.
Yeah, that's my recollection.
If it hadn't been for the applause, I would have said I agree with Michael an awful lot. But I think that was fun for the applause.
Well, I allowed it earlier, so I'll allow this group to applaud.
But I have many of the same concerns. The thing that I most resent here is the idea that the $800,000 being spent on what may turn out to be a real lemon, depending on who happens to be in power, what the this and that is, and so forth. My take on it is I don't know if we can get our state legislature to do the right thing or break the law of Jim here. I'm not as optimistic as Supervisor Delbar about that, but my question here is, isn't it possible at this particular juncture just to go through the steps much in the order that Michael mentioned, simply say, look, we've looked at it, looks pretty good to us. Yeah. It's back to you.
You can do that.
We do it. No, suppose that we do it, and then they either let it languish, right? But we could turn in the $800,000 Cadillac version or Maserati version, and they can do the same thing. So the question here is, are we preparing, are we taking the first step here today to doing something it's not very bright? I mean, why would you spend $800,000 going forward? If we just simply say, okay, you guys have all the power, you have all the information, you have the knowledge, your staff is so brilliant. You take a look at it and tell us what you want us to do, and then we have something to react to. I've just...
To respond to that, we could certainly do that. In fact, I think we did when the review was done at staff level, and we've referred it on to the commission. The commission staff, though, says, you know, paraphrasing, gee, that's great, that's wonderful, that tells us the existing document is okay, but you're proposing to modify that document through amendments, therefore, to be fair to everyone and for everyone to have a shot at amendments, you should have a more public process, and it should be done through an update. That's the commission staff's position. In fact, that's a court decision as well.
I mean, you should have a more public process. You should get everybody involved. What does that mean? I mean,
I wish I knew. I mean, we've got that response from McCroskey. We got it on Reed from the Coastal Commission. We got it on the courts in the Reed case in the town of Mendocino. So you say, well, what exactly does that mean? And unfortunately, with the amending the plan, then you get, it's the amending of the plan through individual amendments that they're saying, okay, the review then isn't enough, you need to do an update.
Yeah. Well, and if I could speak to that, we have talked about larger and smaller Mendocino town plan update processes, and we've finally kind of focused on, let's deal with the data first, and then, you know, we'll bring that back to the board, and the board can talk about what further process you'd like to engage in at that point. It would be theoretically possible to look at, and this would be part of that draft work plan that I was referring that you could give direction on, we could try and come up with an LCP update light, and, you know, it would be up to the board to figure out what level of public participation, hearing, or whatever you felt that would be sufficient, and see if we could do something using staff time and, you know, several hearings, and just see, because you're right, we may not want to put in, you know, I'm responding to what other people's experiences are and the estimates that Ray has provided based on past history, but we could certainly look at, as I said, an update light, and see, because why spend $1 million for something that may get, you know, less than that in terms of editing to take it down.
Okay, just, if you can bear with me, just through chair. No, my point is here is there probably are about 6 or 8 points that have to be addressed, large and small. Okay, why can't we take those 6 or 8 elements, rewrite them, rework them in terms of what the building the board is, just as if they were standalone, a policy 1, policy 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wrap that onto what is already there, type it up using, you know, instead of typewriter, use a computer, okay, do it in a fancier form, and go with that to them. Then we have submitted the, how did you get, I guess let's kind of ask another question. What constitutes a rewrite to all the things that Ray is saying they want from us if we address the 8 major elements as we see them?
Well, it's the problem again is you're not in the driver's seat. It's the county can say these are the 8 issues. Ultimately, it's the Coastal Commission that has to